Yo, what's good? Top of the top, episode 202, Stash House Podcast. Your boy Tyler checking in. First time listeners, thank y'all for tuning in. If you tune in weekly, salute. And just an episode, you saw some topics you may want to hear about. Salute to you as well. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, whatever you do to help support the podcast. Greatly appreciate it. All streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Leave comments, leave reviews, subscribe, put your people on. Thank y'all for the feedback. Thank y'all for continuing supporting the podcast, listening to the podcast, all that great stuff. Very, very grateful for it. Apologies for last week. It was an unexpected episode cancellation. Very, very rare that happens, but I hate when that happens. But like I said, apologies for that. But what better way to make up for it than the episode strictly about music? First time I think I talked about music in general on this podcast in 2023. I want to say the last time I talked about music was like the best of 2022 in like December. So finally, after months and months, we finally got a couple great weeks of music, in my opinion, great quality music, in my opinion. So let's get right on to it. First album, Don Toliver, Love Sick. 16 records. Features, we got James Blake, Lil Durk, Glorilla, Kali Uchis, Tisa Korean, Justin Bieber, Future, Wizkid, Charlie Wilson, Brent Faiyaz, and Toro Yimo. Hope I pronounced that correctly. So we got a great batch of features on this project. And I've been watching interviews over the past week with Don doing his media run, talking about this project. He said it's a concept project, meaning Love Sick is a diner, and everybody in the diner, whether you work there, you're a customer, whatever, they have a story, and he's the owner of the diner. So it's great to hear he had a concept behind it. Me personally, while listening to the album, I didn't get that feel for it, but I think he's saying he wants to do that in a more visual way, a visual concept for it. And I think he said he got clips of it on YouTube, or he's going to upload them to YouTube very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. I love when artists, especially artists this young, his career still driving home the fact, this is a concept. It's not just a whole bunch of records I recorded with features and just decided to throw them all together and sequence it the best I can. You can tell he took some time with this project. His first project since 2021, he had the Life of a Don project, which I really, really enjoyed. He talked about that. He was like, yeah, a lot of people enjoyed that Life of a Don album, but I really couldn't focus on it like I could in terms of like visuals and everything because he was on tour. I never really think about that. You know what I'm saying? We just get these projects from these artists. We don't take in consideration like, when I was recording this, I was on tour, so I really couldn't focus on, songs that I think people enjoy more than others, so I could do a video for it. I don't think about that. It's a lot of artists in the past decade, the past 5 years, we hear the album, and we're like, dang, why can't you do no music video for this? So we don't think about touring and other shit they got going on in their life where, I just recorded these probably like 5-6 months before the album dropped. Like, I completely forgot about that song, but, it's dope to see that he taking the time out and really focusing on every aspect, the performance, the visuals. That's always dope to hear. And like I said, I'm glad Don took the time out to acknowledge that. Some of my favorite songs on this project, Love Sickness, Let Her Go, Slow Motion, If I Had. And I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted with two songs because they like fighting to be like my favorite song on the project. It's Company Part 3, which been on repeat for me since the project dropped. That whole Company series he got, Company Part 2 on Life of a Don, that was one of my favorites on that project as well. Company Part 3, a different vibe, man. Like he zoned out on that one. And Time Heals All. Time Heals All is a different record as well. He said, it'd be cool if I let you go. He from that Travis Scott tree. And Travis Scott, of course, come from what you want to say, Ye, Kanye, or Kid Cudi, whatever the case may be. But Don being signed to Travis Scott, Cactus Jack Records, he got that gene in him that with Travis Scott getting into those vibes like 90210, Astro Thunder, something like that, where you just vibe out skeletons. Like, if you're a Travis Scott fan, you know he got songs where he just vibe out. Like, the concept, like, you want to see the visual for it. It's such a vibe. And Time Heals All and Company Part 3 for Don Toliver on this Love Sick album, those are two. I'm like, yo, I got to see visuals for these two. I don't care if you and your girl, Callie, just, like you said, with drugs and melodies, like, they just vibing in the tub together. I don't care. I don't care. I want to see visuals for Time Heals All and Company Part 3. It definitely got to be like a mashup. Like, just one long video with just those two songs. I would definitely enjoy that. So, Don Toliver, coming from this album, Love Sick, I think it's safe to say, for me at least, he's 3 for 3 in terms of Heaven or Hell, Life of a Don, and Love Sick. He's become a reliable artist. And, of course, on features, he does his thing as well with the features, too. So, Don, with this project, yeah, I'm rolling with him, watching his interviews over the week. He seemed like a very level-headed guy. Yeah, I'm rocking with Don Toliver after this album. Very consistent album. Me personally, I think I still got Life of a Don a little bit. You know, it's still early, but Life of a Don is still my favorite project from him. But I'm not mad with this Love Sick project. So if you haven't already, check that out. Don Toliver, Love Sick. Once again, 16 records, a good batch of features as well. Next album, we got Young Nudy, Gumbo. And boy, Nudy a character, boy. Nudy, because that's the thing about Young Nudy. The joke is, out of all his projects, if he got a name of a song that's like named after a food, all of the songs go hard. So I guess that's what he like acknowledging it with this project. I mean, I don't know. He didn't do no interview or nothing like that for it, but that's the joke with Young Nudy project. If it's named after a food, that song is probably going to be hard. So him naming this track Gumbo, he got songs like Brussels sprouts, mixed chicken, fish and grits, and yeah. So shout out to Nudy, man. But once again, Gumbo, 13 records, features, very limited features, as Young Nudy always do. He got 21 Savage, of course, and Key Glock. My favorite track on the project is probably that MRE record. I really enjoyed that. But sticking with Young Nudy, I said it last year with EA Monster. That was one of my favorite projects last year. His production, man, his ear for production is becoming very, very elite. Like, bruh has come into his own zone. Of course, he had the Pierre Bourne beats at first, and everybody was like, yo, who got the better Pierre Bourne beats, him or Playboy Carti? At this point, Young Nudy is like, okay, I'm going to take Pierre beats still, but now I got my guy Coop over here who doing beats, and that, like, bruh is lethal with the beats. Coop, I got to shout to Coop, man, because these beats on this Young Nudy project, yeah, it really driving home the fact that Nudy is coming to a zone. His ear for production, man, it's like you could pick any beat in the world you want to have on your projects, but the way he pick beats and the way they just flow together, they sequence very, very well, how he flow on them, how he catch his pocket. I got to salute Young Nudy. Coming from like the Slime Ball Seasons projects and the Nudy Land project, that's where I really saw like, okay, Bruckin, he got an ear for beats. But with these last two projects, EA Monster and Gumbo, yeah, shout out to Nudy, man. These past two projects for him, he's been very consistent. And I'm going to come back to that. He's been very consistent. So I got to shout out Young Nudy as well. Next project, we got Key Glock, Glaucoma 2. I mean, 15 records, no features, of course, and fashionable, you know what I'm saying, Key Glock style. And Key Glock, man, I just got to salute, bro, man. I mean, taking that loss with Dolph, as we all know, we knew he was going to be, of course, the guy now in Paper Route Empire. And to say he's been carrying the baton, man, is an understatement. Like, he's really been holding down that camp. And I got to salute Key Glock. I mean, for me personally, I knew he was going to keep going because he knew that what Dolph wanted him to do is keep going. But the way he's been doing it so what's the best word? Fluently. You know what I'm saying? Fluently, I'll say. I got to shout out to Key Glock. And he got some records on this project. But what I want to talk about more in terms of Key Glock, Young Nudy, and Don Toliver, just artists staying consistent. And with these three artists in general, Key Glock being signed to Dolph, Nudy coming up under 21 Savage, Don Toliver coming up under Travis Scott, breaking away from that, I hate to say it, but that little brother role in terms of being signed to an artist and coming to be your own artist, having your own sound, having your own fan base, of course. I got to salute these three guys, man. It's a hard thing to deal with. I know for me, in terms of Key Glock, when I first heard of him, I was like, yeah, buddy, he got some songs, but he sound very similar to Dolph. Don Toliver, first hearing him on Astro World. Okay, clearly Travis Scott going to sign somebody who got the same vibe as him. But now taking that and saying, okay, some of your fans going to come over here check me out. I got to give them a different feel. It could be in the same realm. Like I said, I'm not mad at being in the same realm as those artists, but you got to be your own artist. And I think these three have definitely done it within the past couple of years, staying consistent. And that's why I really want to talk about, like, with Don Toliver being 3 for 3. Young Nudy got a good batch of projects. Key Glock got a good batch of projects. When does an artist become titled consistent? From your first time hearing them, not just going off of what somebody else said. From your first time hearing them, I'm guessing the first project got to at least be good. You know what I'm saying? The second project, that sophomore jinx, that's true. So you got to overcome that second project. That third project got to keep them around. And like with Nudy and Key Glock producing at such a high pace, it's some projects from Nudy I ain't too crazy about. Some projects from Key Glock I ain't too crazy about. But I know the ones I'm not too crazy about, they're going to come back and hit me with one. I'm like, okay, that's the one I was looking for the last time. So it's great to see artists being consistent. I think that word gets thrown around a lot these days because everybody listens to different artists. You know what I'm saying? Somebody may come up to me and say, yo, such and such, very consistent. But I can't say nothing about it because either one, I only listen to one project from that artist, or I haven't listened to enough of that artist to say they're consistent. But for me, Key Glock, Young Nudy, Don Toliver, definitely 3 examples of artists who I think been consistent since they first came out. You know what I'm saying? They might give you one that you might not be feeling, but they're going to make up for it. You know what I'm saying? The ratio, that's what it is. The ratio got to be, okay, it could be 5. It could be 5 women in the spot, but if 4 of them don't look right, it don't make no sense. But if 5 of them in the building and 4 don't look good enough, decent enough, she could be 3 in a possible. You all right with being in that spot. So that's the perfect example I can give y'all right now. So if you haven't already, once again, new music in the rap hip-hop lane, if you want to say. We got Don Toliver, Love Sick. Definitely recommend you check that out. We got Young Nudy, Gumbo. And we got Key Glock, Glaucoma. Once again, if you haven't already, check out those projects. Now in R&B world, we also have some new music, a ton of new music actually in R&B world. First, let's start with Jozzy, Jozzy, new EP, Songs for Women. Jozzy is now signed to Diddy, Love Records, and I actually heard about this project through word of mouth with the timeline, Instagram, Twitter, and with podcasts. And they're like, yo, new R&B, Diddy co-signed, check it out. So we got Songs for Women, 10 records. The only feature she got is Stevie J. Yes, that Stevie J from Love and Hip Hop. You know, he had ties to Diddy back in the 90s, so it's definitely an R&B feel album. Personally, for me, this project is one I'll say you put on a good Saturday drive to get the full vibe of it. Good Saturday weekend cleaning the crib, first listen. It's definitely something to vibe to. I got to give her props on this. A lot of people were saying on Instagram, on Diddy page, like, yo, you overhyping it. Yo, it seems forced or whatnot. But no, he just promoting his artist. That's what he's supposed to do. Like, I didn't get that. Cause like I said, I heard about it through word of mouth. And I went to Diddy page and seeing the comments. I was like, dang, like this song kind of vibing. And folks kind of hating on it because it's Diddy attached to it. But, yeah, this album, man, Songs for Women, Jozzy. And she got like a long list of ghostwriting credits too, which I was shocked by. I saw that on Twitter. I was like, whoa. Like she should have been popped off just off her writing. But this project, yeah, man. Songs for Women, I definitely recommend. She Asked Me, that's a great song. It's another song she been promoting heavy. It got a great 90s R&B bad boy feel to it. And that's what really caught me. The podcast, I heard this song, they was like, yo, every song you can hear like Mace or Biggie, somebody from Bad Boy just coming in rapping. Like, that's the vibe she give me. That's the vibe I feel like that's missing in music today, where you got that R&B song with the rapper coming in rapping on the R&B song, or the rapper having a song and an R&B person singing on the hook. I feel like that's a lost art in music today. I mean, you got Wale who do it. Sometimes Rick Ross will do it. But other than them two, you really don't hear it that much. So this album is I could see her doing a deluxe and having like rappers come on and rap on the song while she's singing, like that'd be dope. That's a dope concept she should do for this album in terms of like a deluxe or something. Have like remixes with rappers coming in. So yeah, Jozzy, Jozzy, Songs for Women. Definitely check it out. 10 songs, very, very quick. Very, very quick, and very, very highly recommend y'all check this out as well. And now, some more R&B that came out. Just going to run down the artists who dropped. Kali Uchis dropped, which I think was dope because her and Don Toliver date, so they had like back-to-back weeks where they dropped. I think as a couple, as a musicians, that's a couple, that's dope. Like you dropped one week, I dropped them this week. Both y'all featured on each other's project. That was dope to see. So shout out to Kali Uchis. And some more R&B, we got Tink dropped the project, Masego dropped the project, Mac Ayres dropped the record. And 2 projects I slept on came out last year. I think one of them came out last year, the other one came out this year, I think. Coco Jones from Bel Air, played Hillary Banks, Coco Jones, her album Fire. It came out like October, I think. And I just recently heard it within the past 2 weeks. Coco Jones, album on point, definitely. And K. Roosevelt, he a guy who I discovered during the quarantine period. I remember that. He dropped a new album as well that got a vibe to it, so check him out as well. Upcoming projects. We have Victoria Monet. She announced her project, Smoke, is coming out the 24th. Definitely waiting on her. She had a project, Jaguar, came out in 2020, which is phenomenal. I mean, you gotta. Victoria Monet, I told y'all when I talk about Ari Lennox's album, Victoria Monet, she should come out and say it. I want to see what your head game like. Like Victoria Monet, one of those artists who I definitely look forward to hearing from, just to hear a women perspective on things. She one of those artists for me. And we got Black. Finally announced his project. Y'all know Black was an artist a project I've been waiting on since the last project dropped. That was 5 years ago, 5 years ago. Since I Have a Lover coming out the 24th as well. And he dropped the record for it, which I'm not really going to talk about. I'm just waiting on the full body of work to get to. And Larry June Alchemist, they announced their project's coming out the 31st. So they're a week after Black and Victoria Monet. So we've been quiet for a minute with music this year. But man, I just gave y'all a great rundown. I mean, from Don Toliver to Young Nudy, Key Glock, to Jozzy and R&B world. I've been seeing people post Tink album a lot. Waiting on Black. Victoria Monet, I'm excited for. I've been waiting on Larry June Alchemist. And they're just the ones who, in my, my vision, in my sights on who I listen to. I'm not even talking about the people who, I don't listen to that other people waiting for as well. So, I mean, you've been quiet for music, but I'm not mad at these past couple weeks. We had some very, very quality music come out. So if you haven't already, check out those projects. Jozzy, definitely, like I said, a good Saturday commute, a good clean up Saturday or Sunday. Jozzy, that Songs for Women, definitely been in rotation for me heavy. So, yeah, this has been episode 202, Stash House Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. After last week's cancellation, what better way to come back, though, with some new music talk. So, y'all go out, have a great work week, a great school week, keep grinding, get your money, stay out the way, stay prayed up, drink plenty of water. Keep me in your prayers. I do the same for y'all. Salute.